about 20 miles from here. It has the oldest obelisk. And the law in this area, if you try to rebuild your house, you have to take a permission from antiquities, because underneath there is monuments. And they sent some people to watch the foundation. If there is something, they take it out. If there is something intact, they can pay compensation. And this is really what happened. I found this, look, between garbage. This is remains of a temple of the king Meneptah, son of Ramses II. I asked them to take it out in 2011, and it was restored. About 2 months ago, it was moved to the Garden Museum to be next door to Ramses II. And look, this is the land belonging to royals. In this land found this sarcophagus and this tomb, dated 500 BC. This tomb suffered from salt. We cut this tomb to pieces with numbers and rebuilt it somewhere outside. And a villa was here. They took it out underneath. This is the tomb. The major problem in the site is the water table, that you can see water underneath everywhere. And underneath this villa, this tomb. The entrance of this tomb was under this house. I came to excavate. I had to go from the top and go inside, excavated that one. And this Janice Cambridge was my right hand during my time, and she's now the curator of the Metropolitan Museum. They were building a supermarket here. Under the supermarket, they found the remains of 3 temples. Look at these blocks. Some dated to Thutmose III, some dated to Akhenaten, some dated to Ramses II. And to see how this everywhere next door to houses. You never see this in any place in the world. And actually, recently, a few months ago, they found by accident, under the ground, under the water, 8.5 tons lower part of a statue of Bismatic the First of Dynasty 26. They found this head, and look how children were playing with the head. They criticized the antiquities department until they covered it, and now they began to take the statue out from the water, look, and they took it like this, 8.5 tons. And actually, they took it now in the garden of the Cairo Museum. Now actually, they found 5,000 pieces to complete the statue, like the toe, and like other pieces of the name. And to show up, and I didn't change the obelisk area to be an open museum with all the artifacts that found. Also in Upper Egypt and Abydos, in the other side there is a site called Akhmin. They built the temples of the god Min, the god of beauty and fun.
So, with this image of Egypt, we start, thanks to the legendary Professor Zahi Hawass, the 5th episode about Egypt and also my story with Egypt. And the sensational discovering concerning, of course, the ancient Egyptian civilizations, thanks to Professor Zahi Hawass. We still have the invisible guest in front to me, that is invisible for you. He is still okay. So he asked me, "How are you? How are you?" They are fine, thank you. They are fine. Now I like to tell you about the 2020 world opening of the Egyptian new museum in Giza. And so, of course, all the spotlight are focused about Egypt, and during this episode, I like to continue my story in Egypt that is completely amazing. Yes, as I said in the first episode, so visit is just perhaps you could lose this broadcasting. You can go straight in my TV channel, Count Wardal, YouTube, and so you can see some episode of this program. You know that every Monday on bavc.org television, I am in the channel 29, always in channel 29, except sometimes, but always 29 at 11 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. There is Count Wardal TV show, and every Tuesday, same television, of course, same station, TV station, the legendary, the very famous Bayvac.org television on the channel 29. I am with you at 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So, I want to continue my story in Egypt. As I said, the last episode of my story in Egypt, I spoke about John Papazian. John Papazian was a very famous personage of Alexandria of Egypt and Cairo too. Armenian by origin, Armenian because Papazian, you know, when the names, the surnames finish with Yan, are Armenian. So I met him. You know, I have to repeat something. So from my father from ancient time, I came from Rome and Egypt, both Elitnain in Arabic. From my mother, from the line of my mother, I have also Egypt. I have Italy, Spain, and Egypt too. Recently, okay. But apart that, by pure coincidence, I met John Papazian in Rome, in a splendid terrace of a building of ancient Rome, and he invited me in Egypt like his guest. And then, this was in the year 80s, then started my story in Egypt that the intellectual and writer, UK writer, Susanna Mitchell-Egan is writing, so will become a book. So what happened? I try to be concise because our time is not so long. So what happened? John was belongs international class, highest class. So he was friend of presidents, kings, queens, etc. But also his profession, he was an architect, an interior designer and painter. So I was in Cairo, just arrived in Cairo from Rome, and he invited me in his exhibition, art exhibition, all'Atelier, the gallery L'Atelier, the most important gallery of Alexandria of Egypt. So just at that time we took a bus, and so I asked to, we was in downtown in Shara Sharif, where Sharif Street, where John was located in Cairo. And anyway, by bus, I saw some magnificent palace in downtown Cairo, and that now is Marriott Hotel in downtown. 26 Julio means 26th of July. And I asked John, what is this palace? And John said, oh, it's a palace of the Pasha Lutfallah, my friend. I will introduce you to the Princess Lodi Kordai Lutfallah when we will be in Alexandria of Egypt. If you go to Cairo in Marriott Hotel, also to take drinks, food, etc., there's a splendid garden in Marriott Hotel in Cairo, you can admire this magnificent palace. So with John Papassian, the invisible guest is over there that is listen to me and listen the story of Egypt. I think he's Egyptian, ancient Egyptian. Okay, so I don't want to interrupt. We was in the bus going to Alexandria of Egypt from Cairo. So at half desert road, we took the desert road. There are two ways to go to Alexandria from Cairo, magnificent roads. So at half desert, I start to hear some voices, and that not clearly told me, you must be here in Egypt. You must. So some imperative tone. We need you here. So I said to John Papassian, that was à côté de moi, means beside me, was sitting in the bus, means, John, I just hear some voices. And he said, by, of course, big irony, okay, I understand. The Italian means me that pretend to that was a pharaoh of ancient Egypt. Of course, he made some joke, okay. So, but the phenomenon was true. I heard really some strong voices, and now I will explain to you what happened during years. Was the first episode of many episodes like that. So we went to Escandareia, so the city of Alexander the Great, Alexandria. Scandaria is in Arabic. So we met Lodi Kordai Lutfallah in her magnificent villa in Rushdie, is a area of Alexandria, and she welcomed me immediately with John Papassian. But I told to the people that she was a really princess. Of course, she was a princess, but real princess, what means? Super open to the people. No frontiers, no border. This is Egypt. So she welcomed me in a fantastic way, as she knew me from years before that, okay. And she was, I think, about 86 years old, but very sophisticated. So we was at lunch in her villa with the patriarch, so the head of the Christian Orthodox religion in Egypt and in Africa too. So we was John Papazian, Lodi Cordaid Falla, the Patriarch, and I. And then Lodi just compose a telephone number to promote the exhibition of John Papazian at l'Atelier of Alexandria, means at the main gallery, art gallery of Alexandria. And what was the result? That the day after that was the art exhibition of John Papazian in the l'Atelier, means was full of people, so full of people that you was a line outside the gallery, thanks to one call of Princess Lodi Corday Lutfalla. You can imagine the power, and this was late years 80. So John sold all his painting. It's not easy, means, you know, it's not easy to sell all, and also he got requested to create new painting, etc. So, now we have few minutes remain, and after the exhibition of John Papazian in l'Atelier d'Alexandrie, we took again the bus to Ergatani in Arabic, so to come back in Al-Qahira, Cairo. What happened? At half desert, as when I went from Cairo to Alexandria, at half desert, again the voices to me. Means voices that spoke with me. Now the invisible guest is pay a lot of attention, and he is like, means yes. Okay, so okay, thank you for your present, invisible guest. Okay, so what? Yes, the voices, as I said, with the same, not the same intensity. The intensity of the voice was much more, and they repeat to me in not exactly by sentences, but like intention. Intention means you are in your country. You must be here. You must be here. This is your place. This is your place. So, of course, I didn't tell to John Papazian that was à côté de moi, means beside me. Again, it matter of the voices, because he gave me the answer, means you are like crazy, but it was a joke, of course. You believe maybe to be that you was a pharaoh, etc., etc. So I didn't explain to him anything. But before this fifth episode about Egypt will be ended, I want to tell you that it's few minutes, okay? I will tell you what happened to me. So after this episode from Cairo, I fly to Rome, and then in Rome I met an Egyptian Italian friend of John Papazian. He's called Fernando, and I told to Fernando what happened to me in Egypt, the matter of the voices at the half desert when I went from Cairo to Alexandria, and when I come back from Alexandria to Cairo at the half desert, the voices. And Fernando told me, Federico, of course, you know that in ancient time, at that point, in that place, when you hear the voices, was an immense convent of ancient priests, Egyptian priests. So the priests the invisible guest now said that maybe he was a priest in ancient Egypt, because he's very means he pay a lot of attention and about my speech. Okay, so because the priests in ancient Egypt was, as now too, anyway, uh, was a special people, very sensitive, that able to communicate with the we called the other world. So, so they can cross their life, their death, everything, and that's why I hear the voices of these priests. This is, the reality that happened to me. Okay, so I was sure because at that place, El Makan in Arabic, I speak about Egypt, so El Makan Arabic word came in my mind, was the huge place for priests. So now is the conclusion of this fifth episode about Egypt. I hope you enjoyed. You are, as usually, thousand everywhere in all the continent of Americas, means USA. I am in San Francisco now, Middle East, Europe, Asia, Africa, everywhere. So stay tuned, and we will approach soon the sixth episode about me and Egypt, and I will continue my incredible, my amazing story in Egypt. Thank you so much again for your kind attention, and thank you so much to the contribution of the legendary Professor Zahi Hawass. Okay, and thank you to Egypt and to the rest of the world. Bye.